Hello and good day.
Hi, everybody.
Today we're going to talk to you about
We're going to talk about unconditional giving and unconditional receiving. So, yeah, what does unconditional giving mean? Now, a lot of us heard the word unconditional love, giving unconditionally. And maybe part of our heart, yes, when we do give, we are unconditional about it. But subconsciously, part of us is conditional. For example, when, let's say, I want to give something, I keep giving things out of love to friends, to family, or if it's someone's birthday, and I give someone a gift on their birthday, and then my birthday comes and they don't give me a gift. Suddenly, I feel down, maybe I feel a bit bitter, and you realize that it wasn't unconditional, it was conditional.
and maybe in situations where it's felt like this person owes me something because I've given them whatever amount of things or time or energy, then it's a matter of asking myself, why did I give in the first place? Did I give because I was expecting something, or did I give because I actually wanted to give?
What's the initial intention exactly? Like, even in relationships, in love, like sometimes in relationships one side doesn't show love the same way the other side does, and the one side would just keep showing love, and they would always say that, yeah, because I love that person, that's why I'm giving them love. But eventually it gets to a point where they start comparing, and they're like, they don't give me the same love that I'm giving them. How is that fair? Or then they lose sight of the initial intention of giving love unconditionally.
Gifting unconditionally.
And when you're gifting unconditionally, there is a certain joy to it. As human beings, we take joy in making people happy or making loved ones happy. So when we are giving, and initially we're giving unconditionally, that is such a beautiful and high energy. So later on, in hindsight, when we start feeling less of ourselves or not good enough, the feelings of, but I didn't receive the same way I gave, and it loses the power and energy of unconditional giving.
And I love that in our culture or tradition there's a lot of hospitality and giving, and that's something I've kind of realized in my own behavior at some point. Is, for instance, like one of the things is when you go to someone's house for the first time, it's part of our tradition to bring something, whether it's a plant, a dessert, or whatever.
Any gift.
And I think that's a beautiful kind of gesture. But there were times where I felt like, oh, I have to bring something, and then I went to the other extreme of like giving absolutely nothing.
It becomes a duty instead of something you love to do.
And so now it's like, no, when I have it in me to give, when I'm able to give, I will give from a place of love. And that's something I've learned through doing volunteer work, because you're not going to get anything in return. You're really just giving.
Well, you get the soul level, I guess, and emotionally you're getting from it something,
but there's no expectation that something will come in return. And then also the contrary, which is the receiving part.
Well, just going back to the gifting, for instance, when you go to someone's house, which, like we said, is a beautiful thing, but what if they come over to our place and not give us a gift? It's when we compare, and when we feel like there's a comparison attached to giving, that's when it's lacking. Yes.
Yeah.
And on the other end of it is, yes, unconditional receiving.
Yeah, a lot of times maybe we feel like if someone, gifted me something or was hospitable or whatever, that I have to return this favor back. But every person in life goes through different phases and different abilities to give and receive. So receive thankfully and gratefully, and give only when you are able to give.
Now think of this scenario. Let's say someone gives me a gift. Let's say you give me a gift. Imagine if my reaction is, oh, but I didn't get you something, or no, here, have this. I am technically robbing you from the joy of genuine unconditional giving, because I'm making it an exchange.
Mm.
The best gift you can give a gifter is genuine gratitude and appreciation. Because think about the times when you gave from the heart. The last thing you would want is for someone to feel bad, or to want to reciprocate, or to want to give back, because it takes away from that intention that you put, the effort that you put into giving someone something. And very rarely we put ourselves outside of the seat that we're in. We're in the giver seat or the receiver seat, you know. But when you look at the bigger picture, gifting is a two-way exchange. There's the gifter and there's the receiver. So when I gift unconditionally from the heart, and I receive unconditionally, I receive with full gratitude, full love, for joy. Even if the thing that I received isn't exactly the best thing that I wanted in life, but there was still an effort and love put in to the act of giving it to me. So that is what I want to be present with. That feeling of, that's so nice. I love this. Thank you for thinking of me. Thank you for giving me this. And when we get used to this giving and receiving unconditionally, we truly embrace the beauty of human connection and the love that's put in to the giving and the receiving.
And I think there's a lot of layers that falls into giving and receiving. There's a lot of layers that falls under sometimes people pleasing or lack of self-worth. People pleasing in the sense of giving, and
over flattering also could be a part of it, or some things for me.
Yeah, and then the receiving is maybe sometimes there's a bit of lack of self-worth, or there's a sense of like, oh, I don't deserve this or whatever, and it all goes under the subconscious mind.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful practice to embody and kind of be mindful of, is when giving, give with the conscious intention
of no return.
I'm giving this unconditionally, no expectations in return. Because sometimes when we give, we on the surface feel like I'm giving unconditionally, but then when we feel that there's no receiving back, then it's like, oh, why didn't I get it back? You know, and that's when it's like, was it really unconditional in the first place?
And one perspective to add to all of this, just to help you see the bigger picture. So when it's conditional, the giving or the receiving, technically it's all connected to a sense of not good enough. So if I give conditionally and people don't reciprocate and return what I expect them to return, then I might get to a sense of like, what, am I not good enough to receive the same gift? Am I not a good enough person? Why didn't I get that? And at the same time, when I receive and I feel like I don't deserve to receive, or I feel guilty or I feel bad that I didn't reciprocate, then I'm not feeling good enough. That like, am I not
life is full of gifts.
Yeah. So when you start realizing that this conditional giving and receiving is connected to feeling not good enough, and a big part of our practice of growth is self-love and valuing ourselves, then we start seeing it differently. We start choosing to gift from a place of unconditional love and receiving from a place of unconditional love. Yeah.
So I hope this inspires you to give from a place of love.
Yeah.
And receive from a place of love, and to be an embodiment of love.
Yeah. This is conditional, by the way, what we're giving you. They're just kidding. We're not. It's from the heart, and it comes with love.